It's been a decade since Persona 5 was released, and to this day, it's still one of the best RPGs that we've seen within the past several years. Persona 5 came out back in the PS4, Xbox One era, and it managed to sell around 13 million units worldwide since its release. And I think that includes the Royal Edition, which appeared back in 2020, I think, on the Switch console. But it's been years since people have been talking about Persona 6 and when it's going to come out and all that other stuff. And I've made numerous videos about this over the past couple of years. And honestly, I have no idea when Persona 6 is going to come out or when Atlus plans on releasing it. But there have been rumors floating around online that something might happen a little bit later this year. But it's something I'm not leaning too heavily into unless Atlus themselves confirm it or they do something to reference the fact that we're probably going to get a trailer for Persona 6 sometime a little bit later this year. But you know what I've noticed? I've noticed that like the PlayStation 5 has been around since late 2020, and after like every 6 years or so, Sony releases a new console. And I honestly feel like we're at that time where um I guess the PlayStation 5 is kind of it's getting towards the end of its life cycle in terms of retail. And the reason I say that is because like you look at PlayStation 5 right now, and you look at the pricing, the price went up for the PlayStation 5. Something people aren't really happy about is $650. And it doesn't make any sense for the price for the PS5 to go up, considering the fact that it's been around for more than 5 years. And obviously, Sony's going to be moving on to their next generation game system, probably like next year, or the year after. And if that's the case, what the hell's the point of raising the price of a console that's been around for almost 6 years? And it makes me wonder if we do get Persona 6 either like next year, the year after, um, are are the like the prices for like the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, is it going to have a negative effect on the overall sales of the game? Because I honestly feel like this is something that could be saved for next generation game systems. But then again, the cost of like the PlayStation 6 and whatever um, Microsoft's next Xbox console is going to be, it's probably going to be something outrageous like 800 to like $1,000. And they're going to use some type of way to justify the pricing, even though it's completely absurd. And, um, and the thing is, like, if that's the case and pricing is going to be an issue and the cost of accessories and games and stuff like that are always going to be an issue, it makes you wonder what's going to be the fate of Persona 6. Even if Atlas releases it and ends up being better than Persona 5, how many people are actually going to buy it? Because on average nowadays, you probably have to spend like $80 for a brand new game. And like GTA 6 is supposed to be coming out before the end of the year. I think like during the fourth quarter of this year, it's supposed to be released unless it gets delayed again. And the price for that game is probably going to be ridiculous as well. And and again, when it comes to like, IPs like, GTA, Persona, and stuff that's been around for a while that a lot of people know about that has a lot of value, it seems like it seemed like these AAA video game developers do everything they can to try and price gouge customers and make them pay more than they should for a normal game. And I know like the cost of living is going up constantly, and for the most part, people are having a hard time making a living. But at the same time, gaming has to be somewhat affordable to, I guess, the people who buy the games who have been longtime fans of certain games. And I honestly feel like, these older IPs are pretty much the only thing that's really keeping the gaming industry relevant nowadays. Because you have a lot of like indie games that are impressive and all, but their games are not known to casuals. It's not known to like the mainstream or anything like that. And they probably don't sell as much as AAA video games. But but yeah, I do feel that with games like the Persona series and Persona 6, which we know is going to be coming out within the next couple of years or so. Atlus has to be smart about their strategy in terms of how they market it, how they release it, whether or not whatever price they choose is justifiable, and whether or not it's worth it to wait until the next generation of game systems come out to release Persona 6. Because if anything, the next generation of game systems are going to be more expensive than what we have now, and I don't think that's a risk that they should take. So while the PlayStation 5 is still a thing in retail, and while the Xbox Series X is still a thing in retail, they should definitely aim to get this game, I guess, polished and released um, while they can within the next couple of years, while the PlayStation 5 is still relevant, while the Xbox Series X is still relevant. Hell, I would even aim for a release for the Switch 2, because the Switch 2 I think is less expensive than both of them. And then you have PC, you got more people who are PC gamers now, more so than ever now. So I honestly feel like yeah, Persona 6 probably should, aim to have, or yeah, I guess Atlas should aim to have Persona 6 on the PlayStation 5 and on the Xbox Series X, because there's no telling whether or not, people are even going to consider buying the PlayStation 6, or, the next generation Xbox console at the rate that prices are going up.